It's a Kodak moment, but it's not a happy one. Eastman Kodak, a pioneer in photography for more than a century, has declared bankruptcy. I'm David Gillen, reporting for the New York Times. Late last night, Kodak, which brought the world the Brownie, the Instamatic, and of course Paul Simon's Kodachrome, filed for bankruptcy protection. Kodak was long synonymous with camera, but in recent years it seemed like a company almost stuck in time. Almost everyone carries a camera nowadays, but almost all of those cameras are digital, and almost none are made by Kodak. Simply put, the world changed, but Kodak didn't, or at least not fast enough. First, it was slow to make the switch from film to digital photography, and then the explosion of electronic devices with high-quality cameras simply overwhelmed it. Since 2005, Kodak sales have fallen by roughly half. Now, the company says it will try to pull itself together, but its future is uncertain. Kodak now says it will sell, quote, significant assets as it grapples with its reorganization. I'm speaking now with Sam Grobart, the personal technology editor at the New York Times, who's one of our device meisters. Sam, you look at this and you look at where photography has gone, and you think to yourself, was this bankruptcy inevitable?
It certainly seems that way. Looking at the history of Kodak, like you mentioned, its inability to even adapt to digital photography, much less the explosion of the devices that you were referring to. Nowadays, almost everybody has a smartphone, and all those smartphones have cameras.
Sure.
Kodak traditionally covered the low end of the market, and that's exactly the place where a smartphone could easily replace an inexpensive camera.
Now, at this point, what can Kodak really do? Have any sense of their strategy going forward here?
It doesn't look very promising, and their recent actions about filing lawsuits to protect patents, that seems sort of not very much of a winning strategy. It's more of a defensive posture. There doesn't seem to be any great product in the pipeline that's going to turn all of this around.
This looks like just one of those business school case studies about failing to keep up with technological change. What lessons can we draw from this? Even beyond Kodak.
I think it's clear that sticking to your legacy business is fine until you realize that the legacy business has no future. Now, of course, determining that is what separates winners from losers. But in Kodak's case, it seems pretty obvious that first you had the undercutting of their film business by lower cost competitors like Fujifilm. Then you had the rise of digital photography. Then you had the rise of smartphones. There were a number of steps here along the way for Kodak to have changed position, changed direction. They stuck with what they did, and they've wound up where they are today because of it.
Sam, thanks.
You're welcome.
Visit us at nytimes.com for continuing coverage of this and other stories throughout the day. I'm David Gillen, reporting for the New York Times.